This year, the elections in the United States have probably been the most emotional in the last decade. People went to the polls not just to vote, they went to express their fatigue, frustration, anger, and at the same time, hope. The atmosphere was noticeably tense, yet calm, without the violent protests that accompanied campaigns in previous years. This time, everything was somehow quieter, but the sense of history did not disappear. On the contrary, it intensified. Preliminary results have already shown an interesting trend. In large cities such as New York, Boston, and Chicago, the advantage went to Democratic candidates, but the gaps were no longer as large as before. In some districts, even where Democrats had won for decades, this time the outcome was decided by literally a few hundred votes. In smaller towns and suburbs, Republicans showed unexpectedly strong results. This indicates that the country is gradually shifting its mood, and many people are seeking new answers to old questions. One of the symbols of this election became New York. Candidate Zohran Mamdani achieved a victory that few had considered possible just a few months ago. His campaign was not about loud promises but simple issues: transportation, safety, affordable housing. He spoke a lot about the city belonging not only to corporations but also to ordinary people who work every day, pay taxes, and want a peaceful life. This, it seems, resonated most with voters. After the results were announced, Trump immediately reacted. In his statement, he sharply criticized the results, claiming that New York has chosen the path of decline. His words sparked a wave of discussion. Some saw them as an attempt at pressure, others as a display of emotional disappointment. But regardless of the opinions, one thing is clear: the old political game is becoming increasingly unpredictable. Republicans have not yet lost positions in their traditional regions. In states like Texas, Oklahoma, and South Carolina, they maintain a majority, though with a smaller margin than in previous years. Yet even there is some fatigue with the old rhetoric. People want fewer quarrels and more concrete solutions. And this may be the greatest challenge for the entire political system: how to talk about solutions, not opponents. Democrats, for their part, are trying to maintain balance. They understand that their support among young people is gradually decreasing. The new generation of voters does not want to vote out of habit. They are more attracted to those who talk about ecology, digital rights, and real support for small businesses. That is why Mamdani's campaign became an example for them: a simple message, minimal pomp, maximum concreteness. The Midwest deserves a separate mention, a region that often decides the outcome of national elections. Here, the results were extremely close. In Wisconsin, Michigan, and Ohio, votes were counted until late at night. In some districts, victory was determined by just a few dozen ballots. People there say they no longer believe in miracles from Washington and want to see changes that are felt in their towns, not just in the news. Interestingly, the number of independent candidates increased this year. Although none of them won, the very fact of their activity shows that society is gradually growing tired of the two-party divide. It resembles a situation that once occurred in Europe, when parties lost their monopoly on trust, and people began seeking alternatives. Psychologists note that these elections were not just a political process, but a kind of therapy. For the first time in a long while, people felt that their voice truly mattered. And while not all results satisfied voters, the main thing is that they began participating in the process again. This in itself is a sign that the country is moving away from indifference. Amid all these events, the topic of the economy is particularly loud. Inflation, rising housing costs, problems for small businesses, all of this remained at the center of discussions. People no longer believe in big promises. They want simple things: stability, fair rules, predictability. And this, it seems, will define future elections. Trump and his allies are already preparing for a new phase of struggle. Their strategy is to show that they can regain control, restore order, and put an end to the chaos of the liberals. But will this work now, when society has become more critical and less susceptible to loud slogans? Remains an open question. Democrats, on the other hand, are trying to demonstrate calm. They speak about gradual progress, about trust, about working for results. Yet, even within the party, tension is felt. Younger politicians want more radical changes, while the older generation prefers not to take risks. And this internal conflict may prove more important than any external criticism. Against this backdrop, America appears tired, but not broken. People have not lost the ability to hope. In conversations on the streets, in coffee shops, in queues at polling stations, phrases like "the main thing is to be heard" were often heard. It's a simple sentence, but it contains the essence of everything happening. Now that the first results have been announced, politicians talk about a new chapter. But voters understand that real change does not come overnight. It is a process that requires time, patience, and trust. And although the system remains complex, these elections have proven that it can still be changed. In the coming weeks, results in several districts may be contested. Yet even if courts intervene, it will not change the main thing: America has entered a new political era. One where people, not parties, come first. And when journalists asked a voter in Brooklyn why he came to vote after many years of indifference, he simply replied, "Because now everything depends on us." And perhaps in these words lies the most accurate explanation of everything that has happened.